Should I just put it up? That would probably be better. I can edit all that out.
Should I wait till I see somebody's online?
Look, we have our first person.
Oh, welcome.
Hello. We're going to give a few people a chance to get on. If nobody does, we'll start our conversation. And you are welcome to ask questions as we go.
And you're welcome to put your questions in the text in the chat now, if you would like. So I'm pretty excited, Chastity,
Me too.
about serving. I think one of the things that has me really excited is how the parents in our trauma training are taking to the information. They are really understanding the value and the power of them doing their personal work.
They're like soaking it in and applying it every week. It's been so neat.
It has been. So we have at the Attachment Healing Center a 12-week neuroscience of attachment parenting group. And from there, for those who are interested, there is a part 2 to the parenting group, which is trauma training. And that's taking a look at how, I'm going to say, it started out with how our youth who have abuse and neglect in their early childhood have a different brain. And what we as parents need to do in understanding how that brain is wired differently and how we have to parent differently in order to help that brain heal and become an organized brain, like those who did not have abuse or neglect in their early childhood. And the trauma training this is the first time we've done it, and the parents have just taken to it so phenomenally well.
They've been really brave, I feel like.
They have
had
been.
to go there. Scary.
They have been. And there's been some relief in them going there.
Huge. Yeah.
And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Hold on, just need to silence my phone.
Good idea.
Which, since it's broken, may not stay silent. That's okay. So, what questions do you have for me to start?
I think, the biggest question with our model is you're always encouraging us like, okay, like this isn't about the kids. This is parent focused. Gotta be ready to do your work. What does that mean? Why do we as caretakers need to do our work and heal our stuff before? Why can't you just fix our kid?
Yeah, I know. That'd be so easy if we could do that, huh?
And
then fix your spouse, and then fix your boss, and like the list would go on.
Yes, fix everybody besides me, please.
A really good question. Thank you, Chastity. And one of the things that's being highlighted in trauma training that the parents really spoke to last night is we have what's called a mirror neuron system. I'm going to give a little background on that. Mirror neurons were discovered in 2 labs at one time. And I know the peanut lab story, so I'll tell that story. So scientists were trying to map out in the brain on a computer screen where the motor cortex was in the brain. And they had a rhesus monkey wired with electrodes, and it went to the computer so that they could see on the screen, and they would get him to move in different ways, jump, go left, right, use arm, legs. And they did that with placing peanuts around the lab. And every time the monkey would go to pick up the peanut, there'd be a sound in the lab, and then they'd go mark it on the computer. Okay, look what fired. So they were just mapping the motor cortex. Now I can imagine that would get pretty boring So they decided to take a break. And there was one scientist who had 3 peanuts right in front of him on a ledge. And he went out and took a break with everyone else. But then he was the first one to come back while everyone else was still on break. And so there he is sitting in his chair, facing 3 peanuts on the ledge, just like twiddling his thumbs. What do I do? So the question is, what would you do if there's nothing to do? You're waiting for the rest of the team, and there's a snack right in front of you.
Eat it.
That's exactly what he did. So it's like, well, I'm here. And he reached out. Now, while the scientists were on break, the rhesus monkey was up in the corner, arms folded, just watching what was going on, not moving at all. The scientist reaches his hand out to pick up a peanut, and the sound in the lab was, and everybody came running in. What just happened? What just happened? And they look and they see the monkey is still up in the corner. He hasn't moved, but yet they go and see that his brain fired. And they said, what happened? And the technician, the lab technician who was sitting there, the scientist said, I don't know. I just reached out to, and it went off again. And there they saw it. The monkey had not moved, but his brain fired as if he did. And so they discovered, if I know how to do what you're doing, my brain fires as if I'm doing it.
Wow.
So I connected that to what happens in my life. Okay, does that make sense? And so what I came up with, if you know how to play a sport, tennis, softball, football, and you're watching it from the comfort of your living room,
yeah,
right? Oh, gotta get the ball. Oh, okay, good. Oh, and that's a good backhand, right? And you get all excited as you're watching the game. And then at the end, are you not exhausted?
Yes. I think it's why I always ask my husband, why are you yelling at the TV? And it's probably because he's so into it.
Yes, his body is feeling. That's exactly right. So because of the mirror neuron system, it works for emotions and pain as well. So if your kiddo is having, let's say he's having a meltdown and you don't know what for, but your body knows that emotion, terror, scared, fear, disgust. But if you know it, your body recreates that state in you. Your brain is firing and that state gets recreated.
Yeah, I've totally felt that before.
Exactly. And so you look at what age were you when that experience, the first time that terror came on, or that fear, or that whatever. And so instead of you parenting your child from your adult self, you're now parenting from that wounded child self.
So it's like 2-3-year-olds just going at it.
Yes. And no one is in charge now of bringing the healing experience. So we have to heal our wounding first, so that when it gets triggered, instead of us going down to the wounded 3-year-old, we now, oh, I know that feeling. And that part that's now healed can inform the adult parent and how to show up differently with our kids. So that is the power. You get insight about what the need underneath the emotional expression might be, and you can show up as that positive, caring adult in charge that brings safety, that cares about the kiddo, and can bring him in close.
Wow. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's a lot of work, though. How would I even start to heal my trauma?
Well, this is what I like to say about our kiddos. We get the children we need. I don't care if they're birth, foster, adoptive, if you're raising your grandkids, raising your brother or your sister. If there is some unhealed wound in you, guaranteed that little one.
They're going to find it.
Oh, let me help you with that. Help me with what? I don't have anything going on. Mm-hmm. And so that's how you find it. All right. So it'll be, and it doesn't have to just be your child. It could be your beloved. It could be your boss. It could be a coworker. It could be a friend, anyone. Anytime someone says or does something and you have a reaction, then I say, first, acknowledge that it's yours. Don't give it to them. Don't make it about them. Oh, wait, something just came up. And then next, thank them. Thank you. You just put light on something, on a wounding or pain or something in there that I didn't even know I was dealing with. Let me not make it about you, and let me see what's coming up for me. Give me a moment, I'll get back.
So that sounds a lot like we have to kind of put our ego aside.
Tell me what you mean when you say ego.
But I think it's like none of us want to take risk. I mean, I know it's hard to take responsibility, right? For like, if you did something that hurt me, I don't want to take responsibility for my reaction. And I think, I spent a long time yelling at my kiddo when my kiddo was yelling back at me because I didn't want to look at myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was probably ego.
Ego. Yeah. Okay. Or some learned behavior. I think we have that modeled, especially in North America here. It's not about me, it's about you. If you do or say something or don't do or say something, then and I have a reaction to it, we're taught, "Ooh, you shouldn't have said that thing. Don't do that thing. Don't." No. So this is the piece that's really important to know. We only heal in relationship. I need what's in my blind spot or what I'm not aware of to be activated so it can come forward. I can go, "Ooh, look at that. I didn't even know that was there. Thank you."
Yeah.
So now I can go heal it. Now, because you activated it, probably means you have a piece in there. But I can't have that conversation with you until I heal.
Okay, so you got to heal your own stuff before you can even attempt to help me be accountable for my stuff.
And I wouldn't say heal it where you check it off the list, it's done, but I'm owning it. I see where it came from, and I can allow it to inform me, because then I'm not going to put it on you. I'm not going to. The problem with the way that we're taught to handle our emotions and the pain that gets triggered is if I put it on you and it's not yours, it stays in me. It stays unhealed.
And we have two damaged people
Right.
for one situation.
Right, so we're not moving forward.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so for me, that's the power, that's the benefit of me owning it. And then I can say, thank you, Chastity, for bringing that up in me. I'd like to be able to process that with you. Can you just sit with me? Because the problem is when we try to just focus on it ourselves, we're going over the same thoughts over and over and over again. Whereas we have someone else to talk to, and you're just listening, "Oh, tell me more." Oh, right? Then I can get to the end.
You can actually process it.
I can process it through. Yes. Like I said last night to the parents, when your kiddo is sharing, keep digging. And for me, the metaphor, the visual that I use is the clowns in the old circuses. I don't know if they do it now, but clowns would pull scarves out of their sleeves, and the scarves would just keep on going, right? There would never be an end. And so I say to parents, just keep going. Tell me more. And then what? Oh, that makes sense. And what else is going on? What else are you thinking? Until they're like, that's it.
That's one of the most helpful things I think that you have told me with one of my kiddos who always tells me like, "Mommy, I'm scared," or "Mommy, I'm mad." And I was always like, before I was like, "You have nothing to get mad about. Nothing happened." And you had told me like, "Tell me about your mad.
Yes.
Tell me about your scared." And I started doing that with her. And I have found out all kinds of things. And she does. She knows what it is. She just doesn't know how to initially bring it to me.
Yeah.
And just let it out. And so it's been remarkable in her healing journey.
Yeah. Wow. So if I just pause for a moment, and I'm just going to ask you just to feel this in your body. You were teaching her something different than you were taught. Can you imagine where she's going to be when she's your age? And she's had the life experiences now that she can share what's coming up and know there's a safe other that cares about her. And she can process and get to the end. Can you imagine?
I'm so hopeful. I'm so hopeful that as she grows up, she can be in relationship and she'll still have all of those big feelings, but she'll have the tools to process them. She'll allow herself to get mad and then say why she's mad. I really hope that she is much further along a lot sooner than I.
And so my little girl right now is saying, on behalf of the children coming along, thank you for being the mom who listened to a different way of parenting. And I'd like to see that spread. That would be my goal, so that there are more of your daughter's generation that can get in relationship with others, that can own what's coming up for them instead of passing the pain on to other people.
Yeah.
Would you two be willing to come on next month?
Yeah, I think I could bring her and probably my other kiddo.
Okay, good.
I'd be happy to.
That would be nice. And so if you have questions, you can start thinking about those over the week.
And if you have questions now, please put them in the chat so Dr. Coleman has a little bit of time to answer some.
That would be great. How old are your children?
My daughter is 7 and my son is 9. I'm growing them up faster than me.
7 and 9. Yes, that would be good. Thank you. And so you can think about what questions you might have for Chastity or even for her son or daughter. What made it possible? What was it Mom did that had her daughter begin to say, Mom, I have some big feelings. I'd like to share this.
Yeah, I think, as a precursor, a lot of why my little ones are doing so well is because I learned the model from you several years ago, and I've been applying it. And I think that's what's important to know is that this way of parenting isn't just for kids who have suffered trauma, but it's just a good way of communication and relationship in your home.
Nice.
And I think my kids are benefiting from it.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. That broadens my perspective. And perhaps parents who are open to doing it differently than they were parented.
Mm-hmm. Well, because the truth is, every human on the planet has suffered trauma, right? Mm-hmm. Like we all have something to heal from. Mm-hmm. And so why not let our little ones heal way quicker than we did?
Yeah, give them the tools. Mm-hmm. The tools now. Yes. So I'm going to check chat. I'm going to check and see if there are questions that came directly to me. Did you get any questions?
I have not. It's a quiet group today. As you guys start attending Dr. Coleman's monthly Q&As, feel free to become prepared with questions that you have. Either if you're clients of ours, talk to your therapists. If they refer you to that's a Dr. Coleman question, now is the time. Or if you're doubting something in the model or something doesn't feel right, this is a great opportunity to go directly to the source.
Thank you. So I did have a question come up this week, and I wanted to share it because it was kind of echoed last night as well. So had a father see his son's energy before bed and energy at different times throughout the day as his son has a lithium battery. He said it doesn't take much to charge it, and it really takes a lot to drain it. And I can see that, and given when his son is expressing that high energy, can't stop, keep moving, I'm thinking it's not because his battery is full. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking that's a sign of emotional dysregulation. Something's coming up. I can't settle. I'm scared, and I'm going over and over and over and over and over. Does that make sense?
It does. It's like built up energy, but it's not just that typical kiddo energy.
No. And what we can do, and I did give them a yoga posture from restorative yoga, which helps us shift which part of the brain we are coming from. And we talked about this last night. We looked at the polyvagal system. So we have an autonomic nervous system, and there's a part of it that helps us relax, downshift. And so I guess for homework this month, what I would ask, sorry, I like to give homework, is for parents with their children and for themselves to explore different ways that we can bring on that part of our nervous system that's about and see if we can build our toolbox around emotional regulation. Now, because we are mammals, we need one another. So some of the things that you can do are individual, like restorative yoga postures. Some of them might be with someone else, playing with your child, reading with your child, rocking your child, sitting next to your beloved, and really having quiet time, really downshifting, taking walks in nature, really not gotta burn my calories walk, but just a restorative walk.
Yeah.
Baths, meditation, journaling outside, all of those things would be great to explore.
But and I think as you are getting calm and you're learning how to downshift, when you were talking about this little kid, what came to me is I get anxiety built up, and I get it like in my core and in my stomach, and I get fidgety, and um, I can't sit still, or I have a hard time emotionally. And that's what I think this kiddo might be going through. And maybe it's not anxiety, but he's working with something there.
Yeah.
And it takes me sitting down with somebody I trust and talking it out or addressing the issue. But I have an adult brain that I get to work with. And so I can see how he needs another adult brain to come alongside him and help him process, regulate, practice things like coloring or
together.
take
I
a walk.
love that, Chastity, because what you're saying is his body might be bringing a message. There's something I can't tell you, it's too big, I can't get it out. But if you can say, oh, I can see your body is trying to say something to me. Can we just come together? Would you like to color? Would you like me to rock you? Would you like to just sit next to me? Let's see if we can figure out what your body is bringing forward. Thank you for that. I love that. Absolutely. Because when we aren't honoring the message that's coming forward, it does repeat and makes us look at it. Does. That's exactly because it's trying to get our attention.
And I think that's why with our kiddos, especially, we'll see those big tantrums. And it probably grows bigger and bigger if it can't get out. It's gonna express.
And so that's when we say, I can see there's something there. Can you tell me a little bit about it, like you do with your daughter and your son?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that? What do you need in order to be able to tell me what's coming up for you?
You know, I heard one, maybe it was a clinician, somebody, may have been you, probably was. But to have the kiddo name the feeling, like name what's happening in your body. So when the parent sees it, it's not a negative thing, right? Like this is your energy, or this is, your big feelings. We called it big feelings in my house. Do you wanna work that out right now?
Nice.
And that way the kid has a code word to know it's gonna be addressed.
Yes.
It's gonna get help.
Yes. I don't have to hold on to it. I don't have to act it out. It doesn't have to get big. Someone can help me. It reminds me of the children's book that I wrote, Dragon Doodle. And Dragon Doodle looks at this little girl, Jewel, who her big feeling comes out as anger. And that's exactly what the school counselor does, is come underneath and befriends the dragon. So now the dragon can say everything that it's doing.
Then it's a friendly dragon.
Yeah. It doesn't feel friendly in the beginning. I think about how, I'm not even going to talk about our kiddos, how we show up sometimes when the feeling is really big and we don't have the words or don't even know what's coming up in our body. Sometimes we don't say the nicest or show up the most loving.
Right. Well, and I think some of us are afraid of our own anger. And I really wonder if that's what some of our parents struggle with. Like, I don't want my kid to throw that tantrum because I'm more afraid about how I'm going to respond than even what's going to happen in that tantrum. Which, had I known a long time ago, I had to heal my own stuff first, I would have prevented a lot of that.
That brings us full circle all the way back. You're right. And we spoke about that last night in terms of not wanting to wake the kid up or not wanting to challenge them because we're afraid that if they don't listen, if they don't follow our guidance, how are we going to react? How are we going to respond? Show the yoga pose. If I get on the floor.
Yeah, I can. Could you do it right here? Or
Yeah, I can try. Yes, we can show the yoga pose. I wish I knew the name of it. That'll be my homework for next month.
to look it up?
Yeah, to find out the name, because then I could just pull up a picture from Google, an image. But you'll need a rolled up blanket or a bolster or something, because I'm going to get on the floor and you need support, because your heart and your chest is going to be above your head. And you hold the position, at least the way that I was originally taught, for 10 minutes. And when my yoga instructor did it the first time, it took me like 4 days. It took me a whole week to recover, 4 days to really be able to get back, but really a week before I was at my full chugging speed again. And I don't think I had ever before then fully downshifted in my body. And it really did feel good. I wasn't as productive in that busy way, but once I got used to downshifting, then my quality of production was even better.
So you could probably kind of float easier in and out of that.
Yes.
You could downshift and rest, and then go back and get things done.
Exactly. As I practice bringing on. All right. So can you bring over one of those rolled up papers so I can show? All right. So I'm going to try and get in position here. And Chastity is going to move the computer. Might be more space over in the corner here.
Yeah, if you want to do it on the rug, you can too.
Come on around. Yeah. You can try. So down on the floor. Take my shoes off. And with the bolster, I'd be supported. And with the bolster, my elbows will have to keep me up.
And then you just keep it for 10 minutes, huh?
And you could stay longer if you want. But yes, and then that helps. Bring on the parasympathetic nervous system and the polyvagal nerve.
Do you have to have your legs behind you like that?
Yes.
Okay. Nice.
And we can look it up.
My watch thinks that you're right too.
Oh, okay. Other questions? Thank you for asking. And I will look up the name of that posture so that I can tell you next time and show you the official picture of what it looks like. Well, it looks like we're just about out of time.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to ask is for you to practice some heart-focused breathing this week. Going to the wisdom of our heart is really important. And so if you can't get in that yoga position, you can always just stop, put your attention in the area of your heart, your chest, and imagine breathing in and out to your heart or chest area. Breathing in a little bit slower and deeper than usual. Find an easy rhythm that's comfortable. Oftentimes, if we stop and check in with our heart's wisdom, it can guide us. So, heartmath.org has a lot of resources online. They do a lot of research to show the power and the wisdom of the heart. And to your question, perhaps next month, I will bring the cut through HeartMath tool so that when your kiddo does that thing, right, you'll have a tool that can help you not need to be afraid of how you're going to react, because you're going to have a tool that will help you get to your heart, get grounded, and be connectable, and to be able to hold and receive whatever issue or emotion and underlying need your youth is bringing forward. So join us next month.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Coleman. Good night, guys. Have a great night.